Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to FreeThought Hour. As many of you know, this is the show that follows global atheist news, and I hope some of you have been following that. And I've got some secret news for you. Well, not really secret, I'm about to announce it. And this is about the follow-up show, because Global Atheist News will have a sister show called Global Atheist News Review. And this is where, unlike in the news itself, it attempts to be impartial, just delivering the facts. In Global Atheist News Review, we will have our views on the news expressed. I've got a panel of opinionated people to take the news apart and give their opinions about it. Anyway, that's tomorrow. So put your calendar notices down for it's 6:30 UK time and whatever that time is in your time zone. So enough of this nonsense. Tonight's guest is a young man named Kaizer Rahman. Hello, Kaizer.
Hello, everyone.
How the devil are you?
I am very well, thank you, John. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, considering my great age, I'm still around, which is that's the best I can
Quite
say.
good.
Well, yeah, thank you. It's the wonders of makeup and lighting. No, I'm lying, of course. Anyway, the thing is, you're an interesting young man because your story starts with some sort of involvement in a religion. I know that because you've told me that you think it's probably a good way to begin to be sort of inducted into a religion, and in order for you to subsequently have to examine it critically and find out all about it and your reaction to it. So would you tell our audience a bit about your beginnings?
Well, I would say that I was a very curious child. I was a very curious child. Our audience might get a little bit of bored, but I'm gonna say a little story of my childhood.
Go ahead.
Where it all started. When I was about 6, 7 years old, I used to ask my mother that how kids come from, where they're coming from, how does it happen? And her answer was actually God sent them with a sort of bird, flamingo or egrets. And then I start asking that God came from then. And then I suddenly realized that her expression changed, and she just straight away said that we should not ask this sort of question. These sort of questions are prohibited. And slowly, when I grew up and I start realizing that there are certain questions, if you ask to people, they get aggressive. And one of the most important one is where God came from. So that was in my head in the beginning. Um, I did practice Islam religion because it's my family religion, and I did read Qurans multiple times with different languages just to understand it more and more. But I would really say that it is all about myself when I really start understanding the Quran. What is it saying? What does it mean? And then I start believing that it cannot be true. It is man-made. One of the main thing I can say about Quran that most of the people are gonna say that Islam is a religion of peace. There is no violence, but it's to be honest, it's not true. If you read the history properly, you can see that how it spread. It didn't spread with smile and love and peace. No, it didn't. It spread with blood and violence everywhere, with fear. How it came to Asia, how it came to our part, where I'm originally from Bangladesh, by the way, how it came to our part in India and there, and it is really bloody, the history. It is. Apart from that, what can I say about
Well, can I interrupt you there a bit, because our audience probably don't know that you're you said Pakistan that you came from originally, or was it Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. You originally, what used to be called East Pakistan,
Yes.
going back in history. Yeah. So our audience doesn't know that you're a British Pakistani, that we are now speaking from the UK, and you were raised here. Is that right? Your childhood was here, or were you born in Bangladesh?
No, I did born in Bangladesh, but I came this country when I was 18. Very young age. I came for education, so I came to college.
Oh, right.
And then I did finish my education, finish my master's, the same university as Richard in Canterbury, and now I'm working as an operation manager.
Great. Okay. So getting back to your story, so when you were questioning your mother about, where do babies come from, and reading the Quran in different languages, that was in Bangladesh.
Yes, so that was back in Bangladesh. I have read Quran in different languages just to understand it.
And of course, Bangladesh is still a fairly strongly Islamic country, isn't it?
It is. Bangladesh is one of the, I think it's one of the top 5 religious country among in the entire world. 92% Muslims.
Wow.
Yeah, 92%. Yeah, it's really high.
So was it a bit of a culture shock coming to the UK at 18?
No, as I said, that I was really open-minded from the beginning. I knew there is something. I was a well-established atheist when I was 12, 13 years old.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so people knew me because I asked questions, and I've been beaten up by my family, my mother, a couple of times because of
Really?
just by asking some
Yes.
sort of yes, this is true.
When you say beaten up, you mean mentally or physically?
Oh, slaps.
Yeah, yes.
So yeah, so I was already I would say that an atheist, but as I said, that I believe that if you grow up in a religious family and then you find out the truth yourself by looking into it, by searching into it, then you understand it better because you come from a background already and you know what is there. So I came from a background, and then when I came to this country, it was open for me. The libraries, the books, the education system, internet, everything was really open, and I really do go and research. I did read not just Quran, I read Bible, I read Gita, some other religious books, just to understand it, go in depth to it, and then figure out that what is it talking about.
So what was being raised through the early part of your life in Bangladesh like? Were you at school, for example, were you fed a diet of Islam and no other religions?
No, so back there, the religion was one of the part in school, of course. It has to be, you have to take it. This is one of the mandatory subjects. So you have to study it. When you are young, your family gonna take you to, it's called imam. So to them, kind of like priest here. So you start the habit to go to the mosque, start praying and this sort of things. It's a bit more extreme than Christianity, I would say. It's more extreme because in terms of you have to pray 5 times. There's special prayers in the Fridays called Juma, Ramadan, few other bits. It's I would say in terms of practice, it's the most extreme religion in the world.
I would agree. It does seem to be more demanding of its adherents than some of the other religions. Yes, 5 times a day praying, and that's not just on the Sabbath day, is it? It's every day.
Every day, yeah.
It's
yeah. Every day.
So at school, you would have to do an end of study exam in Islam, along with all the other subjects that you opted to do. You do maybe, I don't know, English, maths, science, history, or some other subject, and one of those would have to be a compulsory passing of Islam.
Yes, it was. I remember I failed in 6th grade.
Are you proud of that?
Well, that was a mock test, and then the next one I get
Yeah.
over 80%, so that was okay. But
Oh yeah,
that's
right.
that was just for start. I mean, like
Yeah,
because I was not serious about it at all.
yeah,
So that just proves that I was not serious about it at all.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. So, how's your relationship with your family now? You say you were beaten up by your mum at that time. Uh, are they still in Bangladesh? Have they come to the UK? Are you still in contact with them? Are you being shunned by anybody who's a close family member?
No, since I am here, I actually haven't got back to Bangladesh yet. I do not have parents. So in this case, pretty much I don't have that many family back there. Uncle, aunties, yes, they are there.
Mm,
Plus, since 2016 or 17, I would say that I get a little bit famous in Bangladesh because of Facebook. People start pointing me out. They want to see me because of religious and that I was hurting their faith in religion and other bits. So I try to ignore Bangladesh as much I can. I
right.
haven't been there, and I don't think so. I will.
Mm. So you're cut off really from your early days.
Yes, yes,
You're
I am. I am.
you're a bit of an orphan, effectively.
Yeah, this is true. And as I said, that even for visiting purpose, I try to avoid as because of those live threats. There are plenty of live threats
Mm,
on for me on Facebook and other social medias.
mm,
So those may be hoax, but it's better
mm.
not to take a chance for this sort of situation.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like you to speak to me about that after we finish this interview, because Atheism UK, which we're both in, we should tell the audience, is looking to campaign against hate speech and threats to life of that sort, because of course it's illegal in this country, and that we need to get the police more actively involved in suppressing it.
Yep.
I don't think anybody would argue with that. So here you are now. We've got you to this country, and you're studying. You've now got yourself a job, and although you are disconnected from your forebears, you've made yourself a career. You've got a reasonable life to look forward to. Opportunities opening up to you that you probably wouldn't have in Bangladesh.
Yep.
Hmm.
True.
And the question is, where now, and how did you decide to get involved actively? What was your motivation behind joining Atheism UK? What do you think you can do as a member of the organization?
So I think I'm in the organization since 2017. I joined
Mm,
in
yeah,
quite
yeah.
early days. I quickly become the member. And the reason to join Atheism UK was out of curiosity. It's just to expand my knowledge and enhance more of it. Um,
Mm,
as I said, that when I start looking after, when I start researching and everything, and I quickly find out that yeah, I really don't see any practical evidence of God.
mm,
Then I really wanted to share it with some people. And to be honest, there I don't have many friends who have the same view as me.
really? Yes.
I have I have friends. They're even having argument with me where they say that um, if human comes from monkey, why there are still monkeys?
Oh,
so
yeah.
so so
Uh,
I can't just explain them that look, if you think that way,
uh,
the human and monkeys, it came from the descendant from the chimpanzees, it split 4 or 6 million years ago, and
yes.
then so we are maybe primates, but that's it, nothing else. The ancestors are same, but the line is splitted. They don't get it.
Yes.
That so I throw them the question that if you believe that the dogs came from the wolves, why there are still wolves?
Mm.
Cats came
So,
from the cats came from the lions and tigers. Why they're still in the jungle roaming around? What's the point?
yes.
So
Yes.
when I have yes, go on.
I was going to say it's a bit like saying, I came from my grandpa. Why are there still grandfathers?
Pretty much same, yes. So when I had friends like that, and really I didn't have my view, my options to share or to know with someone. So I suddenly saw that Atheism UK. But there was another catch as well. Back then, 2016, 17, I was pretty active on Facebook on my own account
Yes,
about religious hate, the crimes, about
yes.
the violence in Islam and this sort of thing. And I was getting threats on using my personal profile and everything. And
Mhm.
then I found out Atheism UK, and I realized that why I don't join them and to see what's going on. It's
Yes,
just to see and find some similar people who I can share my opinion with. And
yes.
I'm glad I did. I'm glad. Here I am, 5 years later.
We're glad to have you. Absolutely. There is a tendency for people who have escaped from some sort of oppressive religion to think that they're alone because all of their previous acquaintances and family and friends are still in it. And so you feel as though you're exceptional in some way, and they're the norm, and you're the odd one.
Yeah.
So it does matter to find people who have commonality with you to form a bond. Yes. So you said you have some of your friends argue with you about things like this. Is that because you're in a Bangladesh community here in the UK?
Um, it's not because of that, pretty much. It's people with faith. Obviously, and as I told, everyone knows that Muslims are, especially, they get really aggressive when there's a question about their faith. But one thing I just couldn't make them understand, that religious is faith. That's why it calls faith.
Yes.
It's not evidential. If it is, then it would call evidence. It's not,
Yes.
it wouldn't call faith. Faith means when you believe on something without an evidence. So this is a simple thing that I always fail to make people understand in some points, because they don't want to get it. They don't want to hear you. I have seen Muslims that I
Mm.
couldn't get into their heads, because when I was trying to tell them some facts, when I was trying to ask them questions, that your Prophet Muhammad is the biggest name in Islam, and one of the biggest name in the entire world history. Tell me why Prophet Muhammad has married his adopted son's wife.
Mm.
Why he married Zainab? What was the reason for it? Did he? No, I don't know that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
95% of people, I would say, they don't know the background of the
no,
religion. They don't
no,
know the history. They do not know. They don't even try to know.
no, no. Well, their imams have fed them the cherries, haven't they?
Yes, yeah.
Mm.
They don't even want to know. When you say this, ask this question, that why Muhammad married Aisha, his friend's daughter, Abu Bakr's daughter, and
Mm.
when she was 6 years old. Is
Yes.
it? No,
Yes.
I don't know that. That
Yes.
was the rules that time. They said that was that was the rules that
Yes.
time. That's
Yes.
why early marriage. So my question is, yes, maybe that was the rules back then, but why we have to follow these rules in this civilized world?
No. Mm. Exactly. So why do you think that they get emotional about these things?
I think religion came from very early age of human era, when there was darkness in the cave and they looked outside and there was thunder in the sky, and there was storm, and they wanted to have a hope. So I believe it started back then, since Homo sapiens split it from Neanderthals and everyone. That the hope is something that they created. The religion is came from. They want a hope. We,
Yes.
as a human, we really don't want to get extinct. Even after death, we believe that there is afterlife,
Yes.
to just
Mm.
to make us feel happy that even though
Yes.
I'm going in hell, I believe, but still I will not, I will live in existence. I wouldn't disappear
Mm.
completely. They
Mm.
just don't want to accept it. The religion came from that. And
Yes.
then the evaluations of religion happen in many ways, Abrahamic religions or the
Yeah.
Hinduism and other bits. But it started there, I believe, a hope.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good analysis, I would say, because hope is an emotional thing. It's not. It's not based on fact. It's not based on evidence, and you have to employ it because you don't have evidence, and you need some sort of comfort to put your mind at rest so that you can sleep at night.
Yes, yes, it
So
is.
I think you've made a very shrewd analysis there. So is it? You see, you've explained why you found out, in your opinion, that there is no justification for Islam, and you wanted to spread that. But you also said that you think Islam is one of the most demanding. No, that wasn't the word you used, was it? It requires
A
a
lot
great
of
deal.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah, it wants a great deal of its members. It's quite harsh in its
Yeah.
requirements. 5 prayers a day, for example, and Ramadan, no eating. Are you going through Ramadan now? Are you not having any food until the evening when the sun goes down?
I think I ate already twice today. Still waiting for the dinner.
Yes, because that's a very big ask in parts of the world where the sun doesn't go down until midnight or later.
Yes, so there is another thing that I'm happy that you raised about Ramadan. That when I go and ask about plenty of people, or if you look at the Hadith, what is the second of Quran, like a second part, like you
Yeah,
follow the way. So why they do Ramadan? The reason they do Ramadan because they want to feel the poor, how they feel when they are hungry. So that's the explanation. That's the
yes,
way, the closest way to go. So
yes,
what about the whole year then? So you want to feel, and
yes,
it's not about just that. Actually, if you think this way, I am poor and you are rich, and you are doing Ramadan, you are fasting because you want to feel my pain. But
mm,
you psychologically know that after the sunset, you get to
yeah,
eat the biggest
yes,
meal you want. But I
yes,
am poor, I am still there. I don't know. I know I don't have food. I'm
yes,
gonna be still hungry, or maybe I'm gonna eat just a little bit as possible. But
yes,
you know psychologically that there is a huge meal waiting for you. So how does it work? How is it
yes.
relevant?
It
You're
isn't.
just you're just not eating for the whole day for nothing.
Mm,
Because you are eating probably 2 days of meal at the same time
mm.
later on. I mean, like I wrote article about it, that in Ramadan that the skinny get even skinny and the healthier people get even healthier. Nothing works.
Oh,
Scientifically, it doesn't work at all.
mm. And as you pointed out, it's only for a few weeks of the year, and the rest of the time, the hungry are always hungry, and
Yes,
the rich man goes back to getting fat.
yes. So
Mm,
that's the whole point. That's the entire point.
mm. But I wanted to plumb into the idea because the thought of you mentioned not only that you found out it was false and you wanted to tell other people that it was false, but also you said it's harmful. And so, therefore, becoming an atheist and becoming an active campaigner, is that in your mind something to do with trying to reduce the harm, to to combat the harm?
Look, I believe if a priest or imam can come out on the road and approach to you or me and give a pamphlet and invite us to their religion, I think I have full rights to come and tell you about my opinion as well, what I
Mm,
believe. Uh,
mm,
maybe you're gonna take it strictly, maybe I'm gonna hurt you, but I can say about my free thoughts about you, that what I believe about religion. It's not about just Islam, of every religion, what I think. And why don't you go and study that and you find out yourself? Do you
mm,
know we are a product of stardust? Do you know how Big Bang happened?
mm.
How how universe started? Do you know everything? So I can go and try to tell them these things. These are knowledge. And Well, most of the time people get upset. That's the
Yeah.
main thing. But when they are coming to you, then they're knocking your door on Sundays
Yes.
and then inviting you come to church.
Yes.
That's normal.
Huh.
I would definitely say that I'm an active campaigner with Atheism UK, and I will carry it on. Um, I will do as much I can with different ideas. Few days ago, I have posted an idea to Atheism UK to start merchandising so we can spread out more ourselves. So I will come out with this sort of ideas as much I can, and try to battle from my side because I have full rights for that.
Mm, mm. Well, as you know, we have a website which is already, my producer has already put it in a ticker along the bottom here, and you are able to contribute to our website, put up blogs, and join our podcast and help to make the message get out there. So, do you think, I want to, because you're an ex-Muslim, well, and not really ever a fully engaged Muslim, but one who spotted the flaws in it early, I wanted to quiz you a bit about that particular religion and whether you think it's got any special harms of its own that aren't so much associated with some other religions. Do you think it's got any particular nasty practices?
Um, well, if you're thinking about praying 5 times and going fasting, and people are, even when they're sick, when they're not physically ready to go without eating for that long period, and they still want to do it because they want to go heaven and they want 72 virgins there. And if this is a nasty practice, I believe, in terms of health and mental awareness. This is already a nasty practice. It's all they just want is, even though I have seen that people are sick, they have diabetes, which you have to eat or you have to take medicine. Without that, your sugar gonna get low and you will be in really big trouble. But I see that they want to fast because they they want to go heaven. They want to please God.
Mm.
So I think it is already a harmful practice. Or it is.
Yes, absolutely. Ramadan is going to play havoc with your diabetes if you're a diabetic. Absolutely. Yes. But I was thinking of, and you mentioned the afterlife and 72 virgins, and I was thinking, maybe that false promise is what inspires martyrdom. People who will kill others in order to get that reward.
Well, it is happening everywhere. We have seen it, Islamic terrorists, how they're doing it. Started 9/11, one of the most gruesome attack in the history of human, I would say. Later on, what happened? ISIS, Al Qaeda. There's plenty of Islamic terrorist group. They came. They actually got into the car, put a vest on their body with bomb and killed themselves. It's just because of a faith of afterlife, that they will get that a particular reward in afterlife.
Yeah.
This is the thing that people don't understand, that when Quran said that alcohol is forbidden in this world, but it's going to be a reward in afterlife, in heaven. So there will be a river of wine,
Yes.
river of milk, and river
Yes.
of honey.
Yes. Yes. All the things that are
And
forbidden here on earth.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, and to be honest, like the way the Muslim religions is been made up from that 500th century when Muhammad was there, because he had 13 wives, and he always into women, I would say. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit open here. So he actually created the vibe around himself that having marriage and this sort of thing, that you're gonna get a reward, 72 virgins after life. It's all about attractions and sex. So it's very easy to understand that how how it is started and how it is. I mean, I'm gonna give you an example here about Muhammad's um, uh, religions and how he made it up. That is made up by himself. The example here. So when he started actually saying that he wants to marry his adopted son's wife Zainab, there were a community start actually rioting behind it. That why you want to do it? You are what was the reason for it? You already have 10 wives. And then he didn't have any answer, and then suddenly he came up that I was sitting today on my bed, and then Gabriel, the head of the angels, came to me and said Allah sent an oracle to me, and that is he wants me to marry Zainab. So I mean, like, these are, yeah, maybe you can con people back then in those centuries, but right now, really, does it really work?
Well,
I'm gonna
no.
ask these questions to my Muslim
Yes,
friends. That what do you
yes,
think about it?
yes. It's a heinous thing that makes young men blow themselves up and others with them for no evidential deity. It's just shameful deception and a crying shame to the mothers and fathers of these young men, and it's a criminal use of humanity, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've now found out that there's more than one reason to try and reduce the influence of these nasty belief systems. And so I've tried to do something about this recently. I wrote a letter. There's a fact checking organization in the UK that if you hear a politician or a businessman make some sort of claim which you think is unjustified, you can write to them, email them, and the full fact organization will examine the truth, the veracity of the claim that this person in a public position has made, and report on it whether they think it's a justified claim or whether they're talking rubbish. And that's a very good service, and we can see the outcome of that on various websites and in the different sorts of media. And I applaud what they do, this fact checking. Oh, you've gone. So what I did was I asked them if they would like to fact check some of the religious claims, because they're making claims of equally dubious, if not more dubious background, like, 72 virgins when you die and rivers flowing with milk and honey and wine. And I want the full fact organization, which at the moment only deals with the sayings of politicians and business people who are making false claims. I want them to deal with these false claims, these religious false claims. And I think it's entirely reasonable that they should go into, examination of the veracity, research whether or not these claims are true, and report on it. And that's what I've been trying to get them to do. But so far, all I've got is a ticket, a recognition that they've received my letter. So what do you think we should do? Do you think can we do any more? Can we go and stand outside their office with banners and demand that they do their service to the religious claims as well as to the political and commercial claims? Do you think we could do that? Would you be up for that? No, I think you've frozen. Thank you, Frank, for your comments here, and thank you, Otangelo, for watching us. And ex-Hindu atheists, I would like you to get in touch with me. I'll put my email address in the comments so that we can form some sort of connection. So I think we've lost our guest. So what I'm going to do is say that I'm often accused of focusing on the Christian religion and giving the Muslim religion an easy ride. Well, I'd like to show that this is not true, because I've been on Iran, what's it called? Iran Independent TV. I've been interviewed by, Islam Radio. I forget the name of the radio station. It's based in London. And you can see these and hear these interviews that I've done on my channel. So
Yes.
welcome back, Kaizer.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, it was a little bit of glitch of technology, I think. Sorry for that.
Yes. Well, technology is fine when it works. Not so good when it doesn't.
Yeah. So you were asking about that. What would be my opinion? Yeah. I mean, like, I was thinking that if I want to go with a banner that I want 73 virgin, not 72, how it would be.
You're just greedy.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. That to be honest, I think we are not in that era yet where we can actually look behind and say that religion was something. We still have to live with it. There are 70% of people in this world who does not believe in religion. They believe in there is something. That's the main thing. They believe in there is a God, but the God, a spiritual God, but the God didn't make religion. Religion is man-made, but there is a God. Otherwise, how everything came? But they just don't want to look into it. That if you look at the relativity theory and if you look at the quantum mechanics, you really do not need to understand that. You really do not need a God to make everything. If you ask me a question that why everything is perfect, a banana and maybe a lemon that looks so perfect and beautiful, how it is because of this is the theory of Darwin. So this is the nature. This is how it is going on. This is how it will be. It will gonna keep make it perfect and perfect. Same like us, human, how we evaluate everything.
It depends what you mean by perfect, because there are a lot of people who would think that a tapeworm isn't very beautiful.
It is in terms of the eyes of the nature. That's the thing. The nature creates its own things as better adopted for them. So if you're just looking at polar bears, they are relatively a new species. I think 10,000 or 15,000 years, if I'm not wrong. Before that, they didn't exist. So it's a very recent example of evolution. Okay. I was mentioning about the chimpanzees and human that split up 4 or 6 million years ago, and we had other descendants. We had Neanderthals and everything, and it is when you're looking at people nowadays, you're looking at you, and you're looking at me, and you're looking at someone from other part in maybe Scandinavian. You're looking at someone from other part, maybe from Nigeria. We are so different. It cannot be from Adam and Eve. It is not possible. How it is possible from one human pair we become at the variety is unbelievably expanded. It's very easy to understand.
It is, absolutely. It's like I always tell people who get onto this topic, do you think there was the two first poodles? Because we bred poodles from wolves originally, and what happened was we selected the puppies for being, having curly fur and a nice disposition, and slowly, generation by generation, they became less wolfy and more poodly because we'd been selecting them over the multiple generations. There was never an occasion when two of them suddenly became poodles. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's the entire thing that some people even don't understand it, but they just don't want to think it in deep because they're scared they will hurt They will raise some prohibited questions, which is where God came from. This is everything that starts with. This is everything where all the fights start with. That we atheists are saying that we do not need a God, and then theists are saying that where everything came from. Then when we are asking that where God came from, oh no, you can't ask that. You cannot ask this question.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
anybody who forbids you to criticize or question what they tell you is obviously trying to control you.
yes, obviously it's I mean, like it's very easy to see. You don't know, you need to be really educated, or you don't need to read all those quantum mechanics books to understand that what's going on here. It's open. You just need to think it deeply. That's all. That's all I ask.
I get engaged in a number of conversations, some of them quite argumentative, on Facebook, and a lot of the theists point to areas of science which are still a mystery. You mentioned quantum theory, which has got some mysteries in it. It's got non-locality. It's got what is it called? The linkage between distant objects, and another one. I forget what it's called at the moment, but there are mysteries to quantum mechanics, and they seem to think that because we haven't solved them yet, they're God done it.
Okay, that's something I want to say in details. It's good you raised it. The thing is, if someone come and ask the biggest scientist in the world, not me, what was before Big Bang? Obviously, there is no answer. We do not know, because there is no reason to ask what was before Big Bang, because the time started from then, and before time there is nothing.
Yeah.
When Big Bang happened, it was the universe started from something called a 0 point, a singularity, and it was that hot, about 10 billion degree. So it was a mixture of chemicals. So it was full of gluon, and then gluon melt down, become quarks to hydrogen, and then universe became steady, and then start expanding, and is still expanding in many in speed of light. But the thing is, I'm gonna ask one thing to theists, that if they can answer me, that would be great. Which is, just imagine I'm taking you to the past in a time machine. Somehow invented time travel, yeah? And I'm taking you 500 years before from now on, and you're gonna go 500 years before somewhere in the world, and you're gonna show them your phone, that how it works. It takes pictures, or it can do whatever it is. They will just say it's a witchcraft.
Yeah.
If you just tell them that 500 years later, where the technology will be, we will plan to go settle down in Mars, they will not believe you. They will just say that you are talking rubbish. It is not possible, because they didn't think the technology will go that advanced in distant future. The same right now. If I take you the same way in future, in 500 years from right now, you're just gonna see that there are some bits that we haven't even thought about it. It's been invented there. There are questions that we do not know. The answers are there. So right now, I do not have the answer. It doesn't mean that you're right. And the second thing is, the science maybe didn't solve what was before Big Bang. So what the religion have done so far? Did they solve it? It's still Quran and Bible. They're both saying that the world was formed in 6 days. Sun came when 4th days, really. So how the days passed then? How the 4 days passed?
Yes. Doesn't make sense, does it? No. So the big problem here is people think that because we don't know something yet, that proves that their claim must be true. There's no connection there. It's a non sequitur fallacy. And this is something which is very annoying to those of us who know a bit about how science has progressed. Because as you said, what's happened in the last few years, even.
Sorry, John, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? No? He's going to come back. As I was saying, what's happened in the last few years, even, would be indistinguishable from, I'll use that word, witchcraft, to somebody who died 20 years ago. I mean, I mentioned on a chat I was having with another guest a few weeks ago that my father, very gifted man, died nearly 20 years ago. But if you put him in a car, which has a screen on the dash that knows where it is, and then a voice comes out of it saying, turn right, because it knows where you're going, he would think that, he wouldn't know how that could be done. He would think that was magic.
Yes.
And just because we've progressed and discovered a lot of new things, it doesn't mean we're there yet. We haven't finished discovering, but that's not evidence for any claim at all. It's ignorance, not evidence.
This is exactly what I'm trying to say, that we haven't been there. It doesn't mean we will not be. Maybe human will destroy ourselves. We will not gonna go to the peak of the class A civilization, as theory suggests, but right now we don't have some answers, but there will be tomorrow. The Hubble opens so much about the universe.
Now James Webb.
Now James Webb is there. So yes.
You've got a guest.
I got a guest, yeah. So the James Webb is there at this moment. So it's gonna reveal most glorious and mysterious part in the universe.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And we'll understand more of it. And this is the main thing I said. More you understand universe, more you're gonna go away from religion, because it is literally gonna open up your mind that where we came from. This is the questions. This is the main reason, the main question, that where we came from and why are we here. It's a very famous question. And more you get close to it, more you understand that you do not need religion.
Well, I got so incensed by this a little while ago that I even made a video that I called The Undiscoverers, which did this journey. It went back in time, pointing out that if you could go back maybe, what should we say, 20 years, then we wouldn't know about gravity waves. We wouldn't know about the Higgs boson, because they've all been discovered more recently than 20 years ago. If you go back 100 years to the time of Einstein, we wouldn't know about atomic power, atomic bombs. We wouldn't know how to build jet aircraft. They hadn't been invented back then 100 years ago. And if you go back another 100 years, you come to the period of time where we didn't know that the blood circulated around the body, pumped by the heart. So the further back you go, the more ignorant the culture was. And that's the same as taking somebody who currently claims to know the answers to how everything originated. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's one in this audience at the moment. Those people are making claims that are just the same as saying back then, that what shall I say, that jet engines are impossible, or there's no such thing as gravity waves. They are in a position of making a claim about a mystery. They are not in the position of providing evidence for their proposition. And that's a very different thing.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So Otangelo, hello Otangelo, thanks for watching us. He's saying here that cells are complicated. Well, so yes, they are. They're complicated. Doesn't mean that there's a God. There's no connection. Yes, we don't know how they work completely yet. We're finding out more. Hi, Otangelo, to say hi to me. And we haven't solved all the mysteries yet. We don't. If we had, science would stop. It will be finished. But at the moment, we're still investigating. So we haven't solved all the mysteries. But the fact that we haven't solved them, and the fact that they are appearing to be more and more complex, the deeper we look, the more we find out, doesn't mean that any particular proposition is correct. It doesn't mean that there was a creator. It doesn't mean that it's your creator. It doesn't mean that it's not Unkalunkalu, which is the creator deity of the Southern African tribe of what are they called? The whatever the Southern African tribe is, the Zulus, them. So all of this type of thinking is argument from ignorance. It's God of the gap stuff.
It's definitely, if people ask that how life formed, life itself is so complex, I mean, still we do not know where the life it started in the earth. Is it came from a meteor from outside? No one knows about it, but there is a theory that how life started, and obviously started in the ocean, where is the volcanic vent, hydrothermal vent it called, and it's started with the main format of the life is amino acid. So it's a very complex mixture of chemical, and where the one cell life started first, and the multi-cell started by one cell devouring by another, and rather digesting it become a host body and it started multiplying. There was a recent video came on Unilat, and I saw there was a video that one cell is actually consuming another. That's the first time they took a video. That's a fantastic video, actually. If anyone wants to go and watch, it's really educational. But as a science, we do not have any evidence of how life came. But the religion is not telling me much either. No. Why I need to believe it then? You don't believe me. That's good. It's fine. I don't have evidence, but why I need to believe you? What do you have?
Yes, exactly. There's a big difference here, because science doesn't claim to know the answers. Scientists are honest about their ignorance, whereas the religious people are not. They claim to have knowledge which nobody can have in truth, because we haven't discovered the answers to those questions yet.
Of course. So
we're getting some nice comments up from some of
I missed the comment, actually. I was trying to read it. Saying God is okay. Well, as I was saying that if there is no evidence in science right now about how life forms and how it started and where it's taking us, there is not much saying in the religious books about it either. No. Every religious book is wrong about speculations about how the universe started. None of the religious books are even talking about our prehistoric life or the prehistoric animals. Just think about it. Dinosaurs, none of them are talking about it. According to Christianity, Earth is just 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
Quran so didn't even bother.
What's Islam's view about?
That's what I was saying. That Quran didn't even bother to mention about it, how old it is. But when there is 6 days of Christianity's, I mean, the Bible says the 6 days of formation of the time. How the world formed. Quran saying it a bit different. Quran saying one day is 50,000 heaven day, 50,000 heaven days. 1 day of that. So they're talking about 6 heaven days. So one heaven days is 50,000 days of Earth. So if you calculate it, it's 300,000 years. Well, we all know that Earth is 4.5 billion years old. It was formed in early days of when our solar system formed in the Milky Way, and our Milky Way is about 7 or 8 billion years old, and the universe itself is 13.2. So this is what the religion is saying, that what if I believe in it, that you need to come with some evidence as well. This is what I'm just asking. I'm not asking, I'm not denial of God. I'm not saying that I'm against God. I have nothing to do with God. I'm just asking a simple question that you make me to follow you, but you have to do it. You have to come up with a very good logic where I'm going to accept it and I'm going to follow you. If someone can really come to me and someone can really convince me that yes, there is a God and that's the evidence, I promise I'm going to follow that religion. But someone need to come first.
Yeah. So Atangelo has put up here that the there's an agreement between the Bible and science, because they both say that the universe began. Well, that actually, the scientific position is not entirely solid yet. There are still members of the science community that think that there may not have been a start. There may have been a multiverse nested sort of situation. So we can't really say with absolute certainty. There is no absolute certainty that the universe began. But even if you take that as some sort of congruence, you know, between the Bible's idea and the scientific idea that there was a start, that doesn't mean that it was created by an agent. And if you look at the difference between the two claims, the scientific claim that there was, let's take the Big Bang, because that is pretty concrete. Let's take that. The scientific claim is backed by evidence. You know, we know that there was a Big Bang for reasons. One of them being the expansion of the universe, and the red shift that is the evidence for that happening, and the other one being the cosmic microwave background radiation, which can still be measured, and it's, you know, it's the temperature is going down at the rate you would expect if the age of the universe was as we have calculated. So there's good reason for science to say that maybe there was an origin, but there's no good reason for the Bible to make the claim of creation. That's just, you know, a lucky guess made 4,000 years ago, whenever the Old Testament was written.
Well,
Now,
yes, definitely. You're right in this point, because whenever you're looking at the history, I mean, I really don't see something they can come up with an evidence. That's why it's called faith.
yes. Yes. I love your cat, by the way.
Yeah, he's just craving attention.
Yeah, don't they all? So Otangelo's now saying, so it was created by nothing. No, we're not saying that, Otangelo. We don't know how it came about, and we don't use the word creation, because created, creation, those are verbs which require an agent, a subject to do them. And that's an assessment, that's an assumption. You are claiming that. So there you go. Anyway, we've spent about an hour talking about this, Kaizer, and we're coming up to the end of the show. And I want to do a couple of things before I thank you and play your outro. I want to make a couple of plugs, because tomorrow we're starting a new show, which is called Global Atheist News Review. And I plugged this at the beginning of this show. I want to make sure that anybody who's tuned in since gets to hear about this new show, which is a panel of opinionated people who are commenting, giving us their views on the news. So the news show that went out just before we started has a sister show that's running tomorrow a little bit earlier than this time of day. I do hope you'll watch that.
Sure, definitely.
And next week we have a guest. I've got a couple of people who are not fully signed up yet, but one of them will be next week and one of them will be the week after. So I'm not going to announce who my guest will be next week, but you will find out. We will promote this as usual using the posters on Facebook groups and Twitter and so on and so forth. But at the moment, it's thank you very much. This has been FreeThought Hour. My guest has been Kaizer Rahman. Thank you very much. You've been a fascinating guest, Kaizer. And thank you, audience, for watching. Thank you, the people who have been commenting. And bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.
I don't know whether my producer is ready to play your outro.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Steve, can you play the outro, or shall I do it? Here it goes.